Susan Campbell, in her book From Chaos to Confidence, argues that there are a different set of stages. She argues the feeling that something isn't right, being unsettled, and then a phase of denial where people say, well, it's really not that bad, I can live with it. And then at some point, Jim Collins would call it facing the brutal facts, confronting the present. Remember in our discussion of the Chamberlain exercise, Jack Welch's principle that face reality as it is, not as it was or as you wish it were. And then Campbell says there's this phenomenon that occurs where one has to say, you know, the way things have been going just don't work anymore. I don't know where we're going, but we're not going to continue doing what we've been doing. There's a visioning process. I've figured out what I want to have. Again, I invite you to think about our discussion of organizational charters. Exploring new options, experimenting, thinking, I could do this, I could do that, what are my alternatives? Selecting one of those, and then creating new habits and making it happen in one's life. So this has a nice sort of logical progression to it. We can compare that with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's work in dealing with cancer patients. And she described change as similar to dying a little death. So you get disconfirming data to begin with. People say what you're doing isn't working, or you go to the doctor and you get a diagnosis that says even though you feel good, wait a minute, you've got a tumor growing here or there. In her ethnographic research, she discovered that many people will deny this. And it's interesting when you think about denial, there are many ways we could deny things. We could, for example, deny the message. Well, your data must be wrong. I don't like the results of this test. Let's do another test. Let me get a second opinion. If you're forced to accept the message that the analysis is accurate, some people will then deny the messenger. Well, who are you? You don't know what you're talking about. Why do I have to listen to you? You didn't go to a good school. You didn't do the right analysis. And if forced to acknowledge that the messenger is telling the truth, then sometimes people will deny the relevance of the message by saying, well, okay, yeah, so many people die from car accidents because they didn't hook up their seatbelts, but that's never going to happen to me. I don't need to hook my seatbelt. And then the final way of denying things would be to say, you know, I really can't do anything about it. It's just the way things are, and I'm only one person, and when your number is up, your number is up. Fate is in control, and you abdicate any responsibility for dealing with the situation at hand. So there are a lot of ways that people can be stuck in denial, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. After denial, Kubler-Ross discovered that people tended to, once they were forced out of it, usually became angry. It's not fair, life is not good, you've cheated me, I did everything I was supposed to do and I still didn't get the thing I was supposed to have. And anger and denial both can go on for long periods of time. If you get past anger, Kubler-Ross observed that people tend to go into a phase of bargaining. Well, okay, so I've got diabetes, I'm overweight, it really angers me because I've been trying to do well. What if I only ate one piece of cake a day? Or what if I only had 2 pieces of toast a day instead of none? Whatever the issue might be, the bargaining to say, well, how about if I just do a little of it? When that doesn't turn out, this usually leads to despair. Like, oh crap, I can't talk my way out of this. There's no getting around it. And this also can be a lengthy period of time where people are either they don't feel they're capable of making a change, they don't want to change, they don't feel they have the strength to change. But when you come out of that, then you start trying new things. So experimentation trying to get a little win, trying to find a little success, might lead to some hope. Now, I believe that hope is not a strategy. It's not something that you should start off with. On the other hand, if you have hope that maybe if you were able to work at something diligently enough, you might be able to make a change and integrate it. Sorry for my cheesy little noise there. You might be able to integrate it into a new set of habits in your life. So you might, if you're initiating change in yourself or in others or in your organization, imagine that you can expect to see these 8 different stages or phases emerge in the change process.